Hello and welcome to my channel Crafting with me, IndieAnnieJones, and welcome to fall. I can't believe it, it's already here. Well, I mean technically it is. Labor Day is gone and school has started, but it's still a little hot out there for most of us. For me, I live in Florida, so I don't see fall at all. However, that doesn't stop me from celebrating this beautiful season of the year because I use these two little hands and bring fall to my home decor, and I'll help you to do it as well. So let's welcome autumn. Yay, let's go. Today I'm crafting with my friends Dawn of Shabby Meets Bling and Monica of Up All Night DIY and many others who have joined me to welcome autumn, and you can find them in the playlist link below. Let's get started. I should name this video Pumpkin Palooza because I am bringing you a few pumpkin ideas to add to your home decor this fall. Now, I'm going to start with this Dollar Tree pumpkin and some of my favorite paints from folk art. And of course, that's from the Plaid family of products. I did add a little bit of baking powder to this simply because I wanted it to have a chalky finish. I do have chalk paint. I couldn't find it in my craft room. Do not judge me. I won't judge you. You know, we've done this before. I know you have. Anyway, so I just thought it would be a nicer, like more rustic look. I actually wanted to start this with a rustic type of pumpkin and it didn't turn out that way. You'll see. Anyway, what was driving me a little nuts, and maybe it drives you a little nuts, is the seam in the middle of that pumpkin. And do you say pumpkin? Pumpkin? Let's get through this first, okay? This is very important because it depends who you are and how you say it. Because some people say pumpkin and other people say pumpkin. I like to say pumpkin. Like this cat is my little pumpkin. Look at her. Just lazy, adorable and lazy. That's why I have this little cat, Kudu. But I love her. She's the sweetest thing. And she just watches me. She's my best audience. Look at this. Just, okay. Sorry for the, this is how I have to figure out how to craft, okay? Sometimes I don't know if that's white fur or if that's just paint because she's all over my craft desk. Anyway, what I did was I created some using one of my molds. I created those little designs, and now I'm creating the peduncle. That's a peduncle, people. The stem of a pumpkin is a peduncle. If you don't believe me, go ask your own peduncle. Anyway, so I'm using these little designs, and again, I'm using air dry clay. Believe it or not, I'm not using foam clay. I decided to use air dry clay because I did learn a few little tricks, and one of the tricks is keeping the clay moist while it's drying. Doesn't make sense, but it makes sense because I don't like air dry clay because of the crackage. But if you keep it moist, either with water, just a little bit of water, or as I've done here, paint, it doesn't seem to crack. So now I'm using E6000 to attach those design elements to my pumpkin. And I'm sorry I didn't get the part where I was actually putting the clay in the molds. You've seen it before. It's not a big deal. And I just forgot to hit record. Does that happen to you? Are there any other YouTube crafters out there and you forget to hit play and you're like, okay, now what do I do? Well, you just do this. You talk about it and you show how you're adding it to the pumpkin. So there I'm adding it to the pumpkin. I don't know, it doesn't make sense yet, but I'm now removing the what? Peduncle. That's right. We're removing the peduncle, and I'm using my styrofoam cutter. You didn't have to. You can use a scissor or knife, whatever. And now I am going to attach the newly created black peduncle. And I'm just making sure that around the area where I'm going to put the peduncle, it's orange so you don't see the white styrofoam. I know. Once you say that word, you can't get it out of your system. So attach the peduncle. What's the word of the day, people? Peduncle. Okay, so there I've attached it, but am I done? No, not yet. Not so, because I didn't want it to be so Halloweeny. I wanted to have a little bit of glitz without being too glitzy. So here I am just rubbing a little bit of gold paint. Again, this is from folk art. And I think it makes a big difference. And then when I added the paint to the peduncle, it also looked very nice. Now there was one section that wasn't, it didn't completely match up. I just added a simple little piece and it was fine. And you can't even tell the difference. And here I am finishing that up, and now I'm going to do the peduncle. And there you can see a little black cat right beside me. So if you're new to my channel and you don't like cats, I'm sorry to tell you there are cats. There are cats in this video. Using Mod Podge, and this is Mod Podge Gold Glitter. Do you love glitter but hate glitter at the same time? I have that love and hate relationship. And this is the greatest way to add a little bit of shimmer and shine to your design without getting glitter all over your floor. Because life deserves a little bit of glitter. I like a little sparkle now and then. I just don't like the mess. So this eliminates the mess. And as you can notice, I have a little pumpkin candle burning right there beside me. I thought it would be nice and romantic, you know. I tried to make one of those aesthetic videos. I couldn't do it. I just don't have the patience. I don't know. But I wanted to make one of those beautiful aesthetic videos like, I don't know, Desi, you know, Darling Desi. I love watching Darling Desi. If you haven't watched her and you want to relax, watch Darling Desi. There are so many videos out there that I watch and I absolutely adore. It's a Charming Life is another cute aesthetic cottagecore kind of video. So there I did the leaves with the gold. Sorry, off on a tangent. I did the edges of the leaf with the gold glitter, and now I'm attaching them to my pumpkin, and I think it came out really nice. I've seen other pumpkins similar to this in the stores, and I just thought this was my interpretation of many of those designs. Again, we want to celebrate fall and autumn, but we need to save money for Christmas, people. So there is my little creation with a Dollar Tree pumpkin. You wouldn't know that it was a Dollar Tree after all of that I have added to it. So I hope you try this out. Now, I hope you've picked up a couple of pumpkins when you went to the Dollar Tree because, well, here's another idea. If you didn't like the first one, that's fine. I have another idea. So I'm taking this pumpkin apart, and look at how easy it is to take apart. I love the fact that they didn't put any glue on these pumpkins. So if you need to, you can glue them together, but if not, you can take them apart the way I did. Once again, using my beautiful colors from Plaid, the family of products of Plaid, and this is probably folk art. I am covering the whole entire pumpkin, and I did use 2 coats just to make sure that it was all welded, you know, into the pumpkin, into the styrofoam. Now there you can see that I already created a peduncle out of clay once again, and I've attached a styrofoam ball to the inside of my pumpkin because now I'm going to create a floral design. Now the cats are very curious and very interested in this floral design. There's Luna at the forefront and my little black kitty Kuru, who is spoiled, and that's why she always sits by me because I just love spoiling her. So all I'm doing here is adding all of the florals that I have. Now I stayed within like the whites and the light browns and beiges, but I did add some pink because after all, I do have a shabby chic heart. So I thought, let's bring a little shabby chic to fall. I haven't done anything fall and shabby chic this year, so this is my latest video. And I love those golden leaves that I got those golden leaves from the Dollar Tree. The roses are from Temu. And I think that's it. That Dollar Tree and Temu, that's the only places I get my florals. And I think it's coming together so nicely. I love it. I love the fact that I have the ability to bring a little bit of fall to my home decor in any way that I like. And I think this is perfect to have in my shabby chic bedroom. Now, to attach the top of the pumpkin to the bottom, all I'm adding is a bit of a skewer, or you can add a toothpick. And it's easy as that. I really love the way this one came out. I think this is one of my favorites for today's projects, but there's more to come. But again, I can't help it. It's pink and a little bit of gold and a little bit of green, so it's perfect for my bedroom. And there you have it. My 2 little helpers are very involved. They're making sure they're going to keep the little tags for me so it doesn't get on the floor. I'm showing you that I got these little velvet pumpkins from Dollar Tree and showing a little love to my little kittens because I work all day. So when I spend time at home crafting, they are right beside me because at least I can, pet them and just talk to them while I'm crafting. Do you talk to your pets while you're crafting? I'm sure you do because I'm sure that you love them. So all I'm doing here is using these they're decorative like aquarium rocks that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I thought they matched the pumpkin so perfectly well that I decided to create like a crystallized pumpkin. Now I've seen many of these similar pumpkins at like Home Goods, and they're so expensive. So I thought I would recreate that look with this pumpkin. The peduncle on this pumpkin is already gold, so I don't have to worry about that. And my cat is just taking up all of the space. Now, using that Mod Podge, I have some gold flecks. I also have the Mod Podge that I'm using is the one with the gold glitter, just to add a little more sparkle. But then I recalled seeing a lot of these like gold foiled pumpkins, and I thought, you know what? I might as well try it out with this one. And I think it turned out so cool. So if you get a chance, try to create your own crystallized golden pumpkin. It almost looks like something from Cinderella, right? Doesn't it? But again, I love it. So I found this house shelf within my stash, not a house elf. I don't have Dobby. I didn't find Dobby. I'm not repainting Dobby, and I didn't have to give him a sock. And you Harry Potter fans, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this is a house shelf that I had in my stash, and I decided that I would like to use it for my autumn decor. I love my stash. I keep everything because, you never know when you're going to need it. Now, using from my stash, once again, some moss, I am going to create just a cute little like backdrop, something I could put on my desk at work, which I thought would be adorable. And yeah, I'm well known at work for sprucing up the place, especially for fall, Halloween, and Christmas. So now I'm taking my styrofoam cutter, and as you can see, I'm trying to keep it far away from the kitty cats. I am cutting my pumpkins in half, and all of these pumpkins are from the Dollar Tree, so they're very easy to find. Now, what I decided to do, I wanted to create like a little vignette, like with a topiary, a little pumpkin topiary. I love pumpkin topiaries, but I don't have any big enough pumpkins to put in a topiary, so I just, made the best of it and created my little topiary using my tiny little pumpkins. So all I'm doing here is using some hot glue and gluing my little topiaries together, and my little pumpkins together. And in between each pumpkin, I made sure to add a little bit of moss because that does add so much character to it. I don't know why. What's the magic of moss? What is it? Is it just because it looks whimsical? It looks something like from a forest? What is it with moss? Why do I love it so much? And why do you love it so much? Tell me down below. Anyway, I'm using the moss in between each pumpkin, again, to add a little more character. And I'm building it up. And at first I had 3 pumpkins, and I thought, okay, that's good enough. I have white, I have orange, I have that light green. I love all these colors. But then I just decided I needed just one more. So yes, I decided to add one more pumpkin, adding a little more moss to that top pumpkin. I thought I was going to put the little stem there, the peduncle. But no, I decided to add a little red pumpkin right at the top. It's not red, it's like a dark orange. And Luna was in the way of the light, but that's okay. She'll move it in a minute. And that's it. That's all I did. Again, adding moss in between each pumpkin. But wait, there's more, because I decided to add, of course, once I put the pumpkins on, I decided, the background's too dull, it's too boring. Doesn't matter. I just went ahead and stamped away, and it looks so pretty. I love that stamp. So did Guru, apparently, because they're so curious. And it looks so much better. I think it looks so much better just with that little stamped image in the background. Again, another idea, if you don't have stamps, you can use book pages, old book pages, and weather them down and make them look really old and vintage. And you can add that to the background as well. And again, if you don't have this little shelf, you don't need it. You can use cardboard. I'm trying to give you ideas so that you don't have to spend extra money to make your house beautiful for fall. Now I added some more greenery. I'm adding these miniature little sunflowers, and again I have little Guru there to make sure that the sunflower placement was to her approval. She's very picky when it comes to little sunflowers and florals. Rummaging through my stash once again, I found this little fence. It was probably on clearance and I picked it up, and I thought this would be the perfect last addition to this shelf, especially since it was the exact same size as the shelf. I mean, what a coincidence. And I think it added just that much more whimsy and, yes, a little bit of farmhouse to this decor. And again, as a shelf sitter, this is as a shelf sitter, yeah, it's a shelf. And as a shelf sitter, right, this is just perfect, especially for someone's desk like my own at work, or if you have a little area in your kitchen. This would be so adorable. So this is how I finished my little pumpkin topiary shelf sitter. This next one was inspired by IOD. They have this beautiful pumpkin mold, but I did not want to spend the money on it. So they inspired me to create something very similar using clay. Now, first, I'm starting off with this little wooden cutting board from the Dollar Tree and this beautiful blue color that is, again, from Folk Art Paints. I just thought it was so lovely, and I know that blue is a very, featured color that you see in fall decor, especially this year. It just adds a depth to it that's absolutely beautiful. Now, once again, I'm using air dry clay. One of the tricks while you're molding is to keep your hands wet. Apparently, if the clay dries too quickly, that's what creates the cracking. So every so often you see I'll dip one of my fingers into a glass of water, and I'll just continue rubbing it over the pumpkin so that it is not drying out while I'm designing the pumpkin itself. I'm using these little tools that I got at the Dollar Tree. I don't have any special kind of tools, and I think they worked pretty well. As you can see, it's very smooth. I'm trying to keep the pumpkin very smooth, and that's because I'm continuously maintaining it moist so it doesn't dry out too quickly and crack while I'm creating the design, and also when it dries. So here I'm just adding the different ridges for the pumpkin itself, and I'm trying to make it as though it's a 3D design. Again, inspired by IOD, I thought I would like to give you an alternative to having to buy they're beautiful. I love their products, but just some of us can't spend the money on these products. Again, if you're a reseller, all the better to have those tools from them. But if you just want to have this for your own home, here's an option that you can do for yourself. Now, many of you will say, oh, well, I'm not really good at clay. Look, it's just an oval that I've put on parchment paper, and I'm adding the little ridges to it. I don't think it's that difficult, and I'm sure that if you try, you'd be surprised at how well it turns out. Now I'm creating the what? That's right! It's not pinochle, it's peduncle. There you go. Oh my goodness, what a word. As you can see, I was just wetting my hands there to create the peduncle. And it's important as you're molding things to keep your clay dry, not dry, moist, so it doesn't dry out and crack in the middle of your design. And there I'm just cutting the end there. Now I'm adding once again the details, splitting it so that it looks like it's right on top of the pumpkin, and adding some vines, not vines, but adding the lines so it looks kind of woody as it is. And I think it just has such a good effect when you see the end product. I think you'll be surprised, and I really hope that you're inspired to try this again. The clay costs around, I think, $4.99 or $5.99 on Amazon. You can find air dry clay, so it's not that expensive. And to think you could possibly make like 5 or 6 of these, I think it's well worth making this yourself if you want to have this kind of design. All I'm doing is adding the clay to the other clay item, and because they have maintained their moisture, they stick together very quickly. Now, this is the only other tool I used because this was in my stash, and it's one of these mini cookie cutters in the shape of a maple leaf. Again, you can print something out, cut it out, and use that as your mold for a maple leaf or any other kind of leaf, an oak leaf or anything else that you want to add to your design. It's not very difficult. And as I showed you again, keeping these little leaves moist so I can work on them while I'm cutting in the little vines and the little not vines, veins, veins in the, not vines, veins in the leaves, just to give it that realistic touch. And another thing that I learned to give it a realistic touch is you can bend your leaves if you maintain them moist while they're drying, little by little, so they don't dry fast. You can bend them into different shapes. So I put them over a pen so it would have this 3D look to it. Once I feel that the leaves have hardened up a little bit, not too much, I will be adding them to the pumpkin. Right now I'm adding a few little vines. Those are vines, not veins, vines. I knew there were vines in the pumpkin somewhere. So I'm adding a few little vines that were very easy to add just by rolling them together. And now as I add the leaves, I make sure to keep once again, keep the leaves pretty moist, and as I bend them into shape so that again, it gives it a 3D effect. And all I have to do is just lift it up a little bit off of it. So as you can tell the difference between the two leaves. The first one I just laid it flat because I just wanted to see what the difference one was. And the other one, as you can see, I just lifted a tiny little bit and bend the leaves so that it touches. So each part of the leaf touches the actual pumpkin so that it'll glue together. And here I believe I'm using Mod Podge, which worked very well to glue the clay to itself. And there you can see the mold, the IOD mold that has inspired this look. And there is my creation. I think I did a pretty good job. What do you think? But now let's see how it looks when I get it all painted up. Again, I thank Plaid and the Plaid family of products for these beautiful colors, especially for this fall. And this one is a folk art orange. I can't remember the name of it, but there's so many colors to choose from. Regardless, I always like to mix my colors, just adding a little bit of beige or a little bit of brown, just so it's not that, flat orange color, that it has, some gradients and some shadowing. And right now we were being shadowed by my cat Guru, but she moved aside and allowed me to finish painting my lovely little pumpkin. Next, I'm going to be painting the vines, the leaves, and the peduncle, all different colors to reflect the beautiful colors of fall. And it's a painstaking process. I love using the variation of the dark colors and the light colors, and always keeping my brush wet so that, again, I don't dry out the clay as I'm working with it. Now, again, just have fun with this part. Decorate this as you wish. And if you have the IOD mold, that's fantastic. But if you don't feel like you're left out, you can use clay and your own hands, and you will be able to create something just as beautiful. Now, last, I'm painting the peduncle, as you can see, first with some black stripes or black paint going into those veins in the peduncle, and then adding a little bit of brown and a little bit of green just to give it a little bit of realism, a little bit of mambo. Why not? Anyway, you can tell I'm it's late again. Whenever I record these voiceovers late at night, you can tell I'm like, she's delirious. Everybody's like, Ethel, listen to her, she's delirious. Yes, I'm delirious. It's pumpkin time. That's what it is. It's pumpkin time. And I love the way this turned out. But we're not done, because remember that little block that I painted blue? Well, now we're going to attach it to that block now that it's nice and dry. And again, all I used to attach this, believe it or not, was, I just used Mod Podge. I know you can use wood glue, but Mod Podge worked just fine. And as you can see here, I thought it was just too plain with just the blue and the orange, even though that's a beautiful color combination. I decided to add more beautiful autumn leaves to this little, I don't know what to call it. I guess it's framed art, whatever you want to call it. And here I am painting each one of the items. And I even painted these little acorns there on the side. And now I'm ready to add them to my little cutting board. Again, using Mod Podge, it worked just fine. And once I was done with everything, you'll see it in the final reveal, I did paint everything with a high gloss Mod Podge to seal all those beautiful colors in. I love it. I hope you do too. Thank you once again for stopping by, and please remember to check out the full Welcome Autumn playlist. Thanks again to Dawn and Monica for being such sweet friends and for joining me in this collaboration. Thank you for stopping by, and if this is your first time, I welcome you and ask you to please subscribe so you will be informed the next time I have some fun crafting just for you. As I always say, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure and get out there and enjoy this beautiful season. See you soon.